All right, Mountaineer fans, Big 12 Media Day has come and gone. Let's talk about it. With me today is a very special guest. He used to work at the Daily Anthonyum and NJ.com and plenty of media outlets. Amit Batra. Amit, what's going on?
All right, man. How you doing? I'm good, man.
Listen, man, this is it's long overdue. It definitely is long overdue. How's your summer?
It's been good, man. It's busy, but busy's good, right? So, hey, can't complain.
And if anyone knows Amit, he loves the New Jersey Shore, so he loves getting down there. So we like to see you there.
It's fun.
Um,
Yeah.
why don't you say we talk about some Mountaineer football?
Let's do it, man.
So this is long overdue, man. So let's talk about it. So, Big 12 Media Days was this week. Rich Rodriguez is back. Just want to get your thoughts before we start on the Rich Rod 2.0 era starting.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting time, right? It's like I think Mountaineer fans are itching for a win and a winning season, right? It's kind of like, you have to give him time, but it's also like a win now, right? It's a win now mentality after, kind of the last, 6-7 years that have been, it was up and down, but I think, Rich Rod, he brought in his guys, and I think he's excited. He's going to bring in that mentality. You got to be tough to play for Rich Rod, right? So I think he's going to bring that type of culture, and it's exciting.
Yeah, there is no there is no year zero anymore. Last time we could give Neil Brown time, it's a different culture since that's taken place. So our fan base is thirsty for a win. So they need to get it going quickly, and they need to show some signs of life this year for sure, even with 70 new players. So let's get right into it. Let's talk some Big 12 Media Days and get right into it. So let's talk about Rich Rodriguez, and I'm going to pull up this video clip here.
Bring a bunch of guys in. You got to make sure you evaluate the right way, and it doesn't change the culture or the environment that you got to have. And that's the one thing we were adamant on, that, whether we bring in 70 new guys like this year or 25 next year or 30 next year, the culture and the environment has to be stable the way we want to do it, and that's why we feel good about it. But I'm hoping we don't have to do that every year. Last year, Jack State, I think there was over 60, and it took us a little longer than we should have to kind of get cranked up. But once it did, we wound up being pretty good. We're hoping the same thing happens.
All right, so let's talk about what he said there. We were just talking about the culture, and he talked about it right there. What are your thoughts on Rich Rod's comments?
I mean, I think he gets it, right. He's been at West Virginia. He feels like he has something to prove, right, with how things ended last time. So I think, he's going to bring that edge. You have to have a level of toughness to play for him, right? And I think it's exciting. He knows that, it's kind of a win now. Like, the first year, we'll see. But I think the pick game is going to be telling, right? It's going to be huge. The way that game goes is probably how maybe the season turns out, possibly. But the Big 12 is also pretty open, I think, right? It's a conference where obviously Arizona State maybe might be the favorite, but with last year, but I think it's a league that's kind of open. Utah was expected to be that team last year, and they weren't. So it's a league that's for the taking. There's chances.
That's what one of my most popular videos. I talked about how wide open the Big 12 was, and we're going to get to that too, because there was no media poll this year for that reason. So it was cool. I had Rhett Morris on, Don Bosco, offensive lineman, the other day, and he was talking about the culture. And when he was on his visit, he was still like, Rich Rod was still coaching his players hard. It was like, hey, this is a show, and I'm not going to be that hard on the players. Like, it was like, get with the program if you want to be part of this program. So he definitely wants to change the culture. So the next thing I want to talk about is the quarterback room. He mentions that the one thing that he felt comfortable with after spring ball was feeling comfortable at the quarterback position. He felt like he didn't need to go back in the portal. He talks about the Big 12 quarterbacks as a whole, and he also talks about his quarterback room. Let's pull that up now.
But there's 4 or 5 guys that we feel that have the talent to have success in our quarterback room. So it's going to be an interesting competition. We have a couple guys that have played some football. I'm really excited about them. We got a couple young guys that got great futures. And it starts at that position. And that's why I think our league, the Big 12, and I'm not saying this as coach speak, is I have less filter than I did 20 years ago. But, if you don't have a good quarterback, you had no chance to win. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks in the Big 12 this year.
All right. So First off, I want to say I love the Rich Rod press conferences. They're a breath of fresh air right now.
I love it, right?
But yeah, so he brings in Jalen Henderson this year, brings in Max Brown. He has some young guys in Scotty Fox and Khalil Wilkins, and obviously they have Nico Markiel. I think it's going to be a wide open competition. In my opinion, it's a 2-man race. I would be okay with if it was Jalen, Jalen or Nico. I want to hear your thoughts on the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. He's kind of mentioned that it's going to be a competition, right? And that's what you want. That's what you want to hear. He's confident in multiple guys being able to take that role, right? And obviously Nico has the experience at West Virginia, and then you have some new faces, right? And you never really know how transfers kind of are gonna work out at times, but it's refreshing to hear that, right? That's obviously one of the most important positions on the field, if not the most important. You want to have that anchor, right? So I think, yeah, like you said, either way, I think hopefully we're in some good hands, but I think, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, if you look at Jalen, he played at Texas A&M and won some games there, and he kind of fits that Rich Rod offense with his highlights. And then Nico's won some games too. His stats don't jump off the page, but he's proven he can win when you throw him in there, and he's proven he can make the throws. So it's going to be a wild competition. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they both play, to be completely honest with you.
For sure.
Let's get into the media poll. Let's talk about this, right? There was no media poll. As you mentioned, the Big 12 is wide open. Last year, Arizona State was picked last and won the conference. The year before, West Virginia was picked last and it was Neil Brown's best team. What are your thoughts about not having an official media poll?
To me, I'm kind of indifferent on it. Like you said, West Virginia the other year, right? They were picked last, and maybe they used it as a chip on their shoulder to motivate them, right? So maybe it can be motivational, or you could be a Utah who's expected to have a big year last year and they kind of flop, right? So you never really take it too much into consideration. You see the preseason national polls, and you see how many of those teams are ranked top 10, top 15, and then they lose the game early and they fall, right? So you take it with a grain of salt, I think.
Yeah, I think especially with this day and age, with West Virginia has 70 players. This is Bud Elliott's poll here. Listen, no one's going to pick West Virginia to do well this year with 70 new players, and I'm not even worried about it, honestly. The polls don't mean anything. For me, I don't even plan on doing a prediction show because it would be worthless. And I wouldn't even have a power ranking until at least 2 or 3 weeks into the season when you can see these teams play. No one truly knows, man. It's impossible to do that much research right now and truly know what these teams have.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to the next one. First team, Jaheim. Jaheim White, I have a question for you. He's the best West Virginia running back since who? What do you think there?
Let's go Noah Devine. I would go there. I do think so. He definitely has the potential to be that guy. Right? Last year, it felt like with CJ, right? It was it was a 2-man show. You never know if it was going to be Jaheim. Jaheim obviously emerged, later in the season, and CJ dealt with some injuries, but now he's the guy, right? If there's one focal point, one guy that's going to be the guy, I think it's Jaheim, and it's probably somebody that who's going to produce, right? So I know it's exciting. It's exciting to see, and I think he will be that guy.
Have you got a chance to play college football at 26 yet?
Not yet, but it's on the radar for sure.
This dude, he's electric this year. Give him a nice boost. He's good. I think the biggest thing with him is going to be interesting is the room. The West Virginia's running back room is the best room on the team. They have Jalen Knighton and they have Ty Edwards and Sincere Bowers. They have 5 guys that can carry the load. So it's going to be interesting to see how they split the carries. But Rich Rod likes to run the ball, so that'll be interesting. This one really surprised me here. Let's talk about Jaden Bray a little bit. So they picked 3 guys to go: Eddie Vesteren and Jaden Bray and I think it was Nick Cray. Or it was Nick Cray or Landon Livingston, I forget. But they picked 3 guys, and I was really surprised to see Jaden Bray. Had a very disappointing season last year, only 2 catches, 88 yards. People were hyping this guy up like crazy in the offseason. I was very surprised that he didn't have the season that he wanted. He was dealing with some injuries. What do you think about Jaden Bray this year?
I think there's opportunity at that position, right? At receiver for sure. You would think, Gallagher was going to be one of those guys that possibly, to go. But his season ended with an injury, right? So I think now he's motivated. He has maybe that chip that, this is some opportunity for me. And I think, it's an open room and it's exciting and there's going to be competition there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what he could do. I love this guy's highlights when he came over. He actually torched us in Morgantown, if you remember. He caught a touchdown and made some really good plays. He's a nice player, and I think with Hudson Clement leaving and Traylon Ray, it opens up a little bit more for him. The receiving room's fascinating. There's a lot of guys they brought in, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with the reps. But that's really nice. It's an encouraging thing to see Jaden Bray being recognized and that he stayed, because I think he has the potential to do well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some fun. Before I get you off, I know we talked Big 12 Media Days. We want to do a top 5 segment, and these are going to be, if I could play Glory Days, I would, but copyright would hit me because we're Jersey guys. But, let's break this down. So me and Amit were at West Virginia around the same time. So we used to cover this team together and stuff. So we decided to put together a top 5 list of our favorite memories from when we were youngsters in our college days. But let's get to this.
Yeah.
So, Amit, tell us number 5.
LSU, and the atmosphere for this game was the best during my time and during our time, right? Like it was electric. I mean, I still have nightmares of that return from Claiborne. I mean, that from being, the stadium was so electric to going so down south and so quiet. It was, but I mean, Morgantown was amazing that weekend. It was just like it was something in the air, and it was, it was a tough start for sure. You had Honey Badger, I think, had a pick or two, and
Odell Beckham scored in that game too.
Yeah, Odell Beckham, and it was a tough start, but then you had Stedman going, Dustin Garrison was going a little bit, and yeah, I mean the stadium started getting on fire, and then that return, man, it just took everything down. It took everything away.
That was one of my favorite days as a West Virginia. I mean, even though we lost, like it was electric. And that's actually, if you look behind there, that's my dorm room when I was there. Yeah. Stonecker Hall.
Yeah.
So I woke up at like, I don't know, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I look out and College Game Day's there. I'm like, this is sick.
Crazy.
And that was my first year there, so it was like good vibes.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about number 4, and I'll start with this one. WVU joining the Big 12. Now, this is kind of bittersweet because my favorite time as a Mountaineer is when we joined the Big 12, to be honest. Like when we started off 5-0 and I was turning on ESPN and Gino was getting all the Heisman talk, and we just beat Texas. We beat Baylor in a wild game. Like I have chills like thinking about it because that's how special it was. But then it all came crashing down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was exciting, right? You're coming off the Orange Bowl the year before and joining the Big 12. And then that Baylor game is like, 70-63, I think it was. And it was just like, kind of like a defense optional game, but it felt like a video game. But I mean, it was straight to stadium. It was so exciting. I was like, all right, this is the Big 12. Here we are. And then you go to Texas, you win in Austin, and then Morgantown's electric again. that town was fun. That town was fun that weekend. But and then it comes crashing down with Texas Tech. And I don't want to say it felt like a matter of time, but it did feel like a matter because the defense, right? There was some struggles there. Like
there was a meme that came out, like it was like King of the Hill, and it was like, why did we let West Virginia in the Big 12? It was like guys from Texas, and then it came crashing down. And truthfully, like we've shown flashes, but we haven't gotten back to the hype since. Like it's kind of crazy. Like that was almost like the end of not the end of West Virginia football, because we've had Greer and we've had Skylar Howard, and we've had good teams, but the hype was different then, for sure. Let's talk about number 3. This is always one that's going to bring people a smile to their face. Go ahead, Amit. Talk about this one.
Oh man, the backyard brawl. What else can you say, right? It's a heated rivalry. Obviously, two teams that do not like each other, 2 fan bases that go at it all the time. So I mean that game, I remember, my freshman year when they go to Pitt, they take care of them pretty easy. And then the next year, I think they fell behind 14-0 after 1 quarter, and they had to come back, and it was a grind out game. And no, it was exciting, and it was just Gino, Stedman, Tavon. It was just that time that it was fun to be a Mountaineer fan, and I miss those times and those rivalries. I mean, you still play Pitt, but it was Thanksgiving. It was that type of game, and it was fun.
Yeah, we were talking the other day on the pod, and we were saying like this game needs to be moved to rivalry weekend every year.
Yeah.
It means more. All right, number 2. Yeah. This one's gonna be simple. It's not a moment; it's a collection of moments. Because watching Tavon Austin play football for the West Virginia Mountaineers was such a treat. And even today, when I talk to people, they're like, "Wait, like you were there when Tavon was there? Like, what was that like?" And he's just such a special player.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's seen that YouTube video of his highlights, right? I mean, I don't know how many views it has now, but it's got to be insane. And I mean, everybody knows Tavon Austin from those days. I mean, he was a video game on the field. I don't know how else to explain it. It was special watching him, and it was lucky for us to be there, right, to watch it. And I remember that Oklahoma game when you see the clip there, and I mean, what do you have, like 600 all-purpose yards or something like that? It was nuts.
My buddy came down for that one, and I remember like you're just like looking at the stats, and like the next day we woke up and I'm like, Tavon Austin had like 600 yards and they put him at running back. If you remember, he was a receiver and they moved him to running back for one game.
He played running back in high school, right, at Dunbar. And then they played him at times at running back. And, I think they had plays designed for Tavon, right? But it was just like, man, watching this guy on the field, making defenders miss. And it was like, it was crazy.
I remember like watching him live and I'm thinking like, man, this highlight tape is going to be insane. Like one of the things he had, like it was against TCU.
Yeah.
And Tavon Austin chant just started breaking out like in the student section, and he was about to do a punt return. And what does he do? Gone. Touchdown. And like late in the game, we lost the game, unfortunately, because defense wasn't very good. But it's been cool too to see Tavon like kind of like get his flowers at the end of his career, especially when he retired from the NFL. So even though he didn't have the NFL career that he probably wanted to, he's still getting the respect that he deserves, which is awesome for West Virginia and for Tavon. Number one. Go ahead, Amit. Talk about
the Orange Bowl, man. So I actually went down to Miami for this. This was a night to remember. I mean, if there's one game where you couldn't script it any better, I feel like it's this game. I mean, it was just like, I felt nothing could go wrong. After that, Darwin Cook return, it was like Gino, Bruce Irvin, Stedman, Tavon. It was just like, it was so exciting. And I thought it was going to be a competitive game. I don't think anybody expected this, right? So it's a game you remember. It was obviously the last game of the Big East days. And it was like, man, you couldn't script it any better.
There were so many underrated players on that team, man, like Keith Tandy, Najee Good, Julian Miller, Bruce Irvin, like that defense. Could you imagine if that defense would have just came back another, like if they were able to come back another year? It's something to think about. But I love that team. That was like one of my favorite teams, man. They truly were special. And it's nice going back to Morgantown when we go back and seeing the Orange Bowl, because like that was our time. We kind of missed like the peak of West Virginia when Rich Rod was there, so it's cool that he's back. But this is our time. But listen, Amit, this was a lot of fun. Definitely don't be a stranger to the show. Come back, especially to talk as the season goes along in a few weeks or something. That'd be great to have you back on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. This was fun. It was nice to kind of go back down memory lane a little bit, right?
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great summer. Mountaineer fans, it's Amit Batra. I'm JerseyEer. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.